We love being able to go to the different high school, colleges, middle schools to live broadcast sporting events around the area. Georgia Alabama Sports Live appreciates all the fan support, but without a presenting sponsor like Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC and Opelika, none of this would be possible. So we want to say thank you so much. Go to glennsmith.com. That is right, glennsmith.com. See all the inventory and see why people always say, get ready to smile. Thanks, everyone, and thank you to Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC for being our presenting sponsor. Everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thrift Barringer here with my partner in crime, Rich Holdridge. Richard, how you doing, man? You're back for a little extended period.
A little bit.
You got to go back to Fort Stewart, and then you'll be back here for good with your new job. But how's your weekend been? How was your Father's Day, Richard?
Father's Day was great. I was just back for just a couple of days, but I was just glad that I was able to come back and be a part of Georgia Alabama Sports Live once again. I mean, we've had fun, and I've also had time to spend time with the family as well.
Yeah, Richard, and we got a lot that's happening and a lot that we did this past week. I want to say thank you to the Columbus Lions for allowing us to be there for that championship broadcast. Richard, phenomenal job. You were on the sideline. You got to interview Tim Hudson. We were able to do halftime interviews. We were able to do post-game interviews, talk to you. You were talking with some of the players as the game started they're in their bench area. It was just a really top-level broadcast that I was glad to be a part of. And then on Saturday, we broadcast the Columbus United game. Richard, you were the play-by-play for that, did a pregame show. So we just had a busy week last week, and that doesn't even include the 2 days we were at Columbus State doing a bunch of summer league games. We did 2 shows. I mean, just grinding it out, Richard. So much happening in this area, so much to talk about in sports. It'd be a disservice to everyone in this area for us not to cover it. But we'll start back for last weekend. Just incredible broadcast between the United and the Lions. Richard, I know you were excited to be a part of both of them.
I really was excited, and although we've called some summer league games today, I was at Central calling the Glenwood Noonan game and then Shaw Smith Station. But we had other sporting events that we we weren't able to get to every places. We had the 7-on-7 tournament in Muskogee County, and also the District 8 tournament is going on at American Little League as well. Yeah,
and we'll try to cover those games if we can. Richard, it's going to be a lot that we have on our plate because of a scheduling conflict, miscommunication. We were not able to be there for the 7-on-7 tournament. We thought it was July 18th. It was June 18th. And so we missed that today, or we would have been there. But, Richard, great job for you getting Noonan and Glenwood and then Smith Station Shaw. Girls finally get some girls summer league basketball. And then we did Columbus Lochapoka later on that night. And then tomorrow we have Hardaway, Jordan, Calvary, all of them, and Terrell Academy. But basically those three, Hardaway, Jordan, and Calvary, the 3 local schools that you'll see on Georgia Alabama Sports Live tomorrow. And then aside from that, one more play date, the June 26th, potentially at LaGrange, that's going to have Calvary, Central, Carver. It's got so many top-level teams. Richard, I know that's your old stopping grounds. You're going to want to be up there with me for that. So we'll see if that pans out. But we are presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Got a loaded slate tonight coming up here in just a moment. We're going to have on the championship winning head coach, the legend himself, the guy's name's in the rafters, and who I deem, and I'll ask Jack Patterson this later, and same with you, Richard, I deem the most important figure that has ever been a part of the Lions organization. And I know everybody want to say Jason Gibson, but he was there during the Gibson era and helped win championships then, and now has brought in a new era with him, the lead man. as a player and a coach. I think there's no one that's done more for this organization. And can't wait to talk to him and his offensive coordinator, the guy that was dialing up all the right plays at the end of the game that allowed them to become champions. And then we're going to wrap it up with Jack Patterson. There's so many topics between Caitlin Clark, what's happening in high school sports, the Columbus Braves. I mean, you pick a myriad of topics. We're going to hit them with Jack Patterson. We will have a show on Thursday. Our guest is for sure Corey Black, the former Pacelli AD, the guy that is going to be a crucial and very integral part of our success this year in Georgia Alabama Sports Live as an analyst, Richard. So he'll be joining the program, talk a lot of things with him, and maybe a special guest. I'm not going to say his name yet, but this guy has a lot of topics in the world of women's basketball. And he's done a lot for a lot of people in this area. He's works for a really good organization. Look forward to talking with him, Richard. Any other thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, just a slate of shows and just calling games this week. Ready to get back to the grind and just a lot of sporting events that's happening around the area as well.
Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him on, Richard. He is the championship winning head coach. And join with him is his offensive coordinator, Mr. Antwon Young. Coaches, thank y'all so much for joining our program, and champions you are.
Appreciate
yes, sir, man. Thanks always for having me.
All right, we're going to go back and forth between you guys, but Coach, we have you on every week. We usually hit you 2 or 3 times a week, so I'm going to let Antwon go first. Coach Young, we kind of want to get your background, man. This is how we like doing it here. Learning from DJ Jones is when we get a new guest on for our viewing and listening audience, we want them to tell their story of who you are and how you get into the coaching ranks here with the Lions. Without further ado, go ahead and tell us where you're from. How do you get to where you are right now?
How you doing, everybody? I'm Antwon Young from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Graduate of Villanova University, class of 2009, national champion. When I graduated Villanova, I got into playing football, arena football. I played quarterback at Villanova. And that kind of landed me in Richmond, Virginia in the 2011 season in old PIFL days. 2012 season came along. I actually was the MVP of the league that year. Led our team to the championship where we ended up losing to my buddy, Damien Daniels, which happened to be the defensive MVP. So our friendship, started from those fierce battles on the field. After leaving Richmond, got on the phone with Damien, and he actually talked me into coming down here to be the quarterback at Columbus. So I came down to the Columbus Lions in 2014. When he came back from Albany, and we kind of started building this tradition that we have here as players. We were doing pretty good in 14 on the pace to win the championship. I ended up getting called up to the AFL and then eventually tearing my ACL. So I missed that year, and then I came back in 15. The year that we actually won the championship as the quarterback, but ended up re-tearing the ACL later in the season. So I didn't get to actually play in the championship, but, through leadership, being on the sideline, was able to help, do everything I could to help us win. And since I moved to Columbus, man, Damien's become my best friend here and just somebody I've spent the last 10 years just hanging out, coaching, quality time, family life, vacation, doing everything with. So when he got the opportunity to become the coach, I reached out to him. I was still here in the Columbus area about really wanting to coach and give back. And, he took that leap of faith on me and gave me the opportunity. And today we're here. We're champions in our first year as coaches here at the Columbus Lions.
That's an awesome story. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, that really is an awesome story. But Coach Young, talk about your relationship with Coach Daniels and what does it mean to be on Coach Daniels' staff and being a part of such an incredible organization?
Like I was saying, like our relationship outside of football. Like I said, I moved to this city because of him. So he's someone that I'm very close to. I hang out with him outside of football pretty much every day. We vacation together. We do everything together. So our relationship, like I said, he's someone I can call my brother. I call family. I go to his family functions. He goes to my family functions. We just been building that bond. So off the field, everything's great. So going back to being on the field with him, we can relate. He's probably the best defensive player that has ever played this game. I feel like I'm one of the top guys that ever played this game on offense. So, putting us together and just allowing us our experience from offense and defense and combine that to a team, I just felt like that was a great thing.
It was a great thing. And seeing, just the camaraderie within the team. And I know that starts with the coaching staff. If you may mention Coach Young, Coach Daniels, when you got, the head job, we talked to you about putting your staff together. You talked about Coach Young, but how integral of a part, because you knew the defense, especially with what you were potentially going to return. With you being the head of that, you're like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. You know that side of the ball is going to be fine. It's the offensive side that you wanted to make sure was taken care of. Why was Coach Young one of your first choices in leading this team on the offensive side of the ball?
I mean, like you said, just my time in playing against Antwon, I knew his knowledge for the game was very high. And, like I say, being around him off the field, just talking football, watching football, I knew his IQ was very high, and I knew that he was going to be the guy to get it done. And, everybody that I talked to, all my mentors and all my former head coaches that I talked to and got advice from, going into this first season, they all told me the same thing. And that was, make sure you have guys around you that you trust. And, when it comes to that, I can trust this guy with my life. So as far as the offense, I knew we were going to be.
Let's talk about the offense. And Coach Young, you talk about relationships, and nothing more important than an offensive coordinator and a quarterback's relationship. So talk about that with Marcus Brooks and what allowed him to have a prolific season and win an MVP this year. And a lot of credit was off of your play calling. So how was your relationship with Marcus, and why did that gel so well together here in your first season?
Just being a former quarterback.
Did we lose Coach? Yeah, that happens sometimes. You get a phone call or anything, you sometimes lose him. So maybe he can rejoin us here in just a moment. So while he's trying to,
Sorry.
Oh, there you go. Go ahead and finish what you're saying, Coach.
Yeah, I guess people were watching, so I got a phone call doing that. But yeah, just being a former quarterback, understanding, the open spots on the field, and then Marcus being also someone with experience and older, we were able to relate to a lot of things, and just getting someone that understood me and I understood him, I think was the biggest quality. Like I told him from day one at camp, being a couple of years older than everyone else, we're going to need a leader, because on offense, we were pretty much putting together a new team of people that haven't played together. So, that just him understanding that, like I said, someone, being a couple years older than a couple guys, that really helped us out, and it really made my transition easy, because I didn't always have to focus on helping my quarterback get prepared. It gave me a lot of time to get the receivers to learn where he wants us to be. And I just think that was a very big thing for us.
Coach Young, talk about the championship game against Corpus Christi. It was a one-score game. You had a huge third down. You had to dial up a play. Why was the pass to Jarmon Fortson the best play call to get the first down and to score the touchdown to make it a two-score game? And really the defense took care of the rest of the way, but it was really a close game with about 7 minutes left to go.
Yeah, like everyone's been hitting on, familiarity, friendships, and just people I'm close to. Jarmon's another guy that he's a local guy. He's here. Like I said, when I first got here in 2014, Jarmon was here. So that's another person that I'm always with. I'm familiar with him. I have faith in him, especially anything on the football field. Pretty much, if I'm in a situation when I'm nervous or I know there's a play that needs to be made, he's someone that I can count on. So just third downs, fourth downs, big plays. I know that the moment's never too big for him. So as a team, we're able to rely on him to do what he does best.
And we saw some excellent plays, 4 touchdown receptions for Jarmon Fortson. He was just unguardable. As I said on the broadcast, no one could hold him, and he was electric. Coach Daniels, in your first season, you were dominant at home, but defense, I'm going to be honest with you. I've watched arena football here the last 5 to 10 seasons. This defense is about as stout as I've ever remembered, from every level, from its secondary members that are elite, Ben Smiley, to you talk about the linebackers that are all over the place, the leaders. Of course, think, the best defensive front in all of arena football. There's no way there's another team as big and nasty as Ken Watson, DeAndre Brown, and Desmond Scott. What did this defense mean to you? You've been a part of a lot of great defenses, a lot of championship teams. What do you rank this defense and this talented team that dominated everyone from start to finish? Coach Daniels, did you hear me? I don't know what's happening. We're having some technical difficulties. Coach Daniels, if you can't just log out and log back in, that happens sometimes. Richard, let's take a break. When we come back from break, we'll try to fix this. I'm going to continue the conversation right here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Choose America's #1 compact SUV, the Chevy Equinox. Discounted up to $6,500 off. Chevy's full-size pickup truck, the powerful Chevy Silverado, is up to $12,000 off. And big Chevy Silverado 2500 HDs are discounted up to $6,000 off. Plus, enjoy no payments until fall. Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get ready to smile.
We love being able to go to the different high school, colleges, middle schools to live broadcast sporting events around the area. Georgia Alabama Sports Live appreciates all the fan support, but without a presenting sponsor like Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC in Opelika, none of this would be possible. So we want to say thank you so much. Go to glennsmith.com. That is right, glennsmith.com. See all the inventory and see why people always say, get ready to smile. Thanks, everyone, and thank you to Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC for being our presenting sponsor.
Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Choose America's #1 compact SUV, the Chevy Equinox. Discounted up to $6,500 off. Chevy's full-size pickup truck, the powerful Chevy Silverado, is up to $12,000 off. And big Chevy Silverado 2500 HDs are discounted up to $6,000 off. Plus, enjoy no payments until fall. Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get ready to smile.
Welcome back here. We had some technical difficulties, so hopefully we can. Are we good, Richard? Can we bring them both back on?
Yes, we'll give it another shot.
All right, let's try it one more time. We're going to bring back Coach Daniels. Can you hear us? I do not know what's happened with Coach. I get it. Somehow it's just not working on.
Coach Daniels, can you hear us?
I still can't.
Coach Young, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Coach Young can hear us. I think it's Dame. I don't know what is happening. Other than he just have to log out and log back in. Richard, maybe you can text him on that end, take him off, and we'll just continue on with Coach Young. Coach Young, I'll talk to you similarly about the offense. You know, all the receivers. You got Goodwin, you got Deloach, you got Jermon Fortson. I mean, DeMacio Ewing. How did you pick when to dial up the right person, make sure all these guys get the touches they want? I know that's got to be difficult. And how do you know when is the right time to throw it to them? How does that feel when being an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, that's definitely a difficult process, being that we have so many guys that are capable to make plays. And, you know, you definitely want to give everyone a chance to have their input on the game. So we had actually lost Ewing middle of the season, which was big because he was our leading guy at the time. And that actually allowed Gooden to step up. And, you know, his first game in, he came in with 4 touchdowns.
Right.
And I just kind of told him from that point, that moment right there, that, hey, you're going to be on the field all year. There's nothing I can do to take you off the field because you've done everything you're supposed to do. So, you know, as we're getting further into this season, we did get Ewing back. And that was just an addition, just added more depth to our receiver room. So, you know, coming to the championship, I talked to Coach Daniels about just finding a way to, hey, I got to play 5 guys. And, you know, I want everyone to actually feel like they're a part of this. So we kind of came up with a strategy more in the field. I'll kind of go with the smaller guys because you and those guys are a little bit faster. I like to stretch the field. And as we get close to the red zone, I would go with my big package, which would be Deloach, Gooden, and Fortson. Because down there, you're going to get a lot of press coverage. Everything's going to be tight. So I wanted to go with the bigger guys so we can bang with the DBs and kind of create separation.
Yeah, go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, Coach Young, talk about your relationship with the quarterback, the quarterback Marcus Brooks. I mean, he's been in the Lions system for 2 years, and just winning a title last year, and then just coming in. It just seems like everything is just methodical with Marcus Brooks. I mean, he has time to throw the football. He's got weapons. Just talk about the type of quarterback Marcus Brooks is and how he runs your offense.
I mean, yeah, Marcus, like I said, he's our leader. So first of all, he's a firefighter. So, leadership skills are there. So I never had to really worry about, teaching someone how to lead. That was a natural thing for him. And then just with the football aspect, like I said, I watched them play last year. I live in Columbus, so I watched him play all last season. I got to kind of see his strengths and see some things that we could work on. And then, just coming into the season, I did tell him like the things that, I feel like we need to work on these things, for us to be able to win a championship, and just things that can help you become a better player. And he was very open to that. And every day he came to practice, put his work in, never complained. There were times where he had to help me out. Like I said, this was my first year being an OC, so there were times where, I might not have been as fast, but having a veteran quarterback, he would easily just say, "Hey, coach, this is what I'm comfortable with." And, we were able to go with those things, and a lot of times those things work. So having a veteran quarterback, someone that's played the game, knows what's going on, he made the process so easy. I loved working with Marcus this year.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to watch. We cannot get it right with Coach Daniel. He just can't hear. So maybe we can tell him we can have him on again later or resend the link. I don't know what is happening. Why Coach Daniels cannot hear us. But we'll continue on. Coach Young, I'll ask you the question about the defense. You've been around a lot of great teams. This defense is out from every level. What do you rank this defense on all the teams you've been a part of and seen as one of the best that's been in arena for a long time?
So that's been like an interesting conversation we've been having over the last couple of months. And in my opinion, this defense here, in my opinion, I rank them second best overall Lions defense. Only to that 2015 defense with Damien, Marvin Ross. We had some really good players then. We have some really good players now. I would say our defensive line this year, that pass rush, that definitely goes down as probably the top pass rush defense I've seen here in Columbus. Like I said, our secondary is amazing. I just get, in arena, your secondary is really what determines everything. And I just give the nod to the group when we had Damien, Marvin Ross, Roshan Marshall, and Chris Pickett. That was a tough. I had to practice against those guys every day.
Yeah.
That just was a tough group. And, there's a lot of games where they really weren't giving up passing touchdowns. And that's pretty tough to do in arena football. But this year's defense, in my eyes, goes down as the second best defense. They were really good. Like I said, DeAndre Brown and Kendrick Washington. And then our ferocious nose guard, Desmond Scott, man, they caused a lot of pressure. And if you notice that championship game, when they started having all those bad snaps, our nose guard was killing. So, you can't overlook that. Like I said, those guys did a tremendous job. And I would probably put them down as the best pass rush group that has come to Columbus.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. We got Coach Antwon Young, the offensive coordinator. We're trying to make sure Coach Daniels can hear us so he can be able to be a part of this conversation. And then, look at this, straight from work. You see the devil, he shall appear. It is the quarterback of the Columbus Lions, Marcus. We asked Coach Young about y'all's relationship, and of course, he spoke glowingly about you. But I want to put you on the spot right now. What was it like to play with Coach Young? Y'all's continuity that led to I would say, an MVP season.
Playing for Coach Young was great. He came in off rip. He said he won a championship and he wanted the MVP to come out this room. One of the two has happened so far. Hopefully the second follows. But playing for him, he listened to my suggestions. We always we knew what we were working with, and we went out there and made it work. He dialed it up, and I got it done.
Go ahead, Richard.
Well, Marcus, talk about just that championship game. I know that we interviewed you, and they put a lot of pressure on you. Corpus Christi had a game plan. They wanted to rush you and to try to make you force the throw, but you stayed poised. There was a play where you moved to your left. I mean, it was basically you were able to get out of the pocket and you were able to find the receiver in the back of the end zone. I mean, how key was that just to be mobile in the pocket because Corpus Christi was putting pressure and you were able to get your receivers open?
Yeah, I mean, the receivers, they always play big. They're always open. It's just up to me to find them. The line, I mean, they did their job. They gave me enough time to find them. I don't mind helping every now and then. If I got to make one miss, I ain't outrunning nobody, but I can slide to the left and right on it.
Well, I got to ask you this question. Coach Daniels, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Oh, there it is. It's going to work, man. We're going to figure it out. If it was the last daggum thing we did, look at this. We got a 5-man broadcast right here on Georgia, only on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. All right, Coach, I'm going to go back to the original question before it decided to melt down. And obviously, it must have been a hot question because it just about tore up every system that we have going here. I asked this to Coach Young. Where do you rank this defense as dominant as it was? And all your years of playing and coaching, it's one of the best, if not the best I've ever seen. Where do you put it up there, and what did this defense mean to you, seeing how dominant they were from start to finish?
Oh, man, that is a tough question. I mean, we definitely did what we were supposed to do, and we dominated on all phases of the game. But as far as Lions history, I mean, we've had some great defenses, so I would definitely put it in the top 3. Can't give it to number 1, but it's definitely top 3.
Yeah, Coach Young says that 2015 defense. He was naming off some great names and saying that 2015 goes up there number 1. But this defensive line, it has been incredible. Coach, how do you think your year went for you? Did you feel like it was smooth? I know you probably had a few learning curves, but it just seemed from the outside looking in an easy transition that led to a championship win and a very good conference.
I wouldn't say it was an easy transition, but it wasn't too hard just because of, my role, even when I played, was kind of that leadership role, and they gave me a lot of responsibilities as far as calling coverages and making, adjustments in games. So as far as it wasn't a huge transition, but, being the head of everything, of course I learned some things, and, I'm ready to just get back to it and try to be better next year.
Marcus, you should be the MVP, and I think everyone on this broadcast agrees. There's no doubt about it. Should be the MVP of this league. DJ asked you this question, but I'm going to ask you it again. I want Georgia Alabama Sports Live people to hear it. I think you can play in the UFL or whatever higher league is out there. You are an elite quarterback. I don't care about age or anything else. Do you have any aspirations to try to get there, or are you happy doing what you're doing, which is being a hero in the community first, freaking firefighter? Are you kidding me? And then a leader on the Columbus Lions. I mean, I stack that resume up against anyone. Do you ever have ambitions to go further, or are you happy where you're at right now?
I'm actually happy where I'm at.
Yeah, and winning this championship back to back, what does that mean for you in your career? Looking back now, full circle, seeing yourself back to back champions, and you're only thinking about three-peat.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Let's run it back, gentlemen.
Run it back.
Go ahead, Richard.
No, I think that's great, Marcus, that you have just aspirations to be here in Columbus, to be part of this community. And I know that this community does mean a lot to you, but we really appreciate everything that you have done for the Columbus Lions. What do you consider yourself as far as you stamping your legacy? Because we've had some great quarterbacks come into that Civic Center, like Mason Espinoza, like Darren Daniel.
Antwon Young.
Antwon Young, yeah, of course.
That's right.
By the way, Antwon, I moved to Columbus in 2015. I remember that championship when the Columbus Lions took on Richmond. So but back to your question of Marcus, how do you stamp your legacy as one of the greats in the Fountain City as the Columbus Lions quarterback?
I really just go out, try to do my job, and be the best that I can for the Lions at that time. I don't know anything about the past Lions. I know they were great. I know the legacy of the Lions. Just trying to create a name for myself. I would love to be next to Coach Dame on the wall.
Yeah, that's definitely the next goal. And as I made mention, I'll say it again, that I think the most important person that's ever worked in the Columbus Lions organization is Damien Daniels. He won a championship as a player and a leader there, and then not only as a player and a leader, but then becoming a head coach and winning a championship. I mean, come on, man. That he is the epitome of the Columbus Lions. Coach Young, are you coaching in the high school ranks? Do you want to coach anywhere outside of arena football? What is it that you do outside of being an offensive coordinator?
Yes, sir. I do currently coach high school football. Currently, right now, I am working on something very special. I actually just got accepted to do the Bill Walsh Diversity Foundation internship with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh,
So
wow.
in July, I'll be leaving out for a month. Hopefully, trying to turn my dream into something that I can actually touch.
Oh man, I am definitely hoping for that, Coach. And
Absolutely.
for you here, you're an excellent, obviously very bright mind. And if Coach Daniels swears by you, I'm going to swear by you too. Coach Daniels, after the season's done, you win a championship. And I just want to say this now that the season is over with. The referee situation that went down last Friday was atrocious. And I know I'm probably going to get fined and they're probably going to come after me. I don't care. What went down that delayed the game that just led to a bunch of other things? It seemed like there was a lack of control that I wish in a championship game in which you're supposed to be having the A crew. Something like that should never happen. Guys, y'all don't have to say anything. I don't want y'all to get in trouble. This is only an opinion of Thrift Barringer right now, but I was really frustrated. I know Lee Snow and Casey Smith are really frustrated. I know y'all were tired of sitting there waiting and not getting the game started. And again, it led to many other mistakes that I just feel like at that point in the season did not happen. So I'm hoping for next year. And I'm saying that to lead to this question. And I'm going to start with you, Coach Daniels, and Marcus, and then Antwon. I want all three of y'all to answer. What are things that other teams in this conference can do to make sure – I'm not saying they're going to meet y'all because you are the standard, as Coach Daniels always said, but other teams got to have the support and that infrastructure to be successful and keep up with the Lions. So I guess, Coach Young, we'll start with you. What does the AIF kind of have to do next year? I mean, there were some really good teams. There's some really good players, but it felt like it didn't pan out the way we wanted it to here in this first year back. What are things that other teams need to be successful like y'all are?
First thing I would say is it starts with the community. You have to get the community behind you. If the community is not behind you, it's going to be hard to push the product. And then, I guess they just got to do scouting, get, do a little bit of job in their scouting department. There's a lot of talented players out here, just a lot of talented players, so they got to handle the business, find those guys that want to be a part of their organization and guys that just love this game. And I think it all starts there.
I was trying to not beat around I was beating around the bush. I was trying to be politically correct, but just the 82-0 scores to 62. Blowing them out. Guys, y'all are an elite team. You're freaking Alabama, but I like to see an Alabama-Florida game, not Alabama-Carver or Alabama versus Central. That's what I was seeing on the field. I'm seeing number one team in the country of college football taking on a lower school high school. So it just didn't pan out talent-wise and everything else. And I don't want that to continue on because I think that the arena football can still be relevant as it ever been. And I think watching what I watch and how talented y'all are, guys, I just want to make sure y'all are getting the justice you do deserve because people are going to say, well, who did they play? They beat a team 16-12. That doesn't stop the fact on how dominant y'all are. And Coach Daniels, I was just making the point, what do other teams in this league need to do to make sure they can compete with y'all?
One last thing I'll add to that.
Go ahead, Coach Young.
Pre-game. just stop talking trash. Because, I mean, when you talk, it's just like fire under us. So, I mean,
No one learned a lesson, did they, Coach Young? No
it's not.
one learned a lesson. Go ahead, Coach Daniels. What do you think they need to do? Because obviously, as a competitor, you want to beat the best, and you want to make sure everyone that you're playing is bringing their best, so they got no excuses. Well, what do you want to see? Because Coach Young said about community support. Is that the biggest thing for a lot of these small market teams and organizations? They need community support to keep up with y'all.
He can't hear you.
I knew it. It just didn't want us to be great. Marcus, you go ahead and answer the question.
I mean, for the other teams in the league, I would say they should just build on the momentum that they have. Just bring in more players to add on to what they already started. I mean, the Lions getting to this point didn't just happen overnight.
Exactly.
It took time to get there. And you just gotta, once you get there, you just gotta maintain it.
Yeah, and maintaining success. That's what we've seen. We got Coach Young, who hopefully will potentially be an NFL assistant coach somewhere, that maybe be a head coach, and he got his ranks right here. I'm putting it out there. You know, when you talk things into existence, Coach Young, that's what I'm doing right now for your career. And if Mark ever wanted to go play for the Birmingham Stallions and play for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I know that he could go start for them right now. What's your last thing for all of you? And if Coach Daniels, you can hear me, we'll start with Coach Young, then go to Marcus, and then Coach Daniels. Your speech to everyone in the community, all the fans that came out, 6,000 people. That's pretty good number for arena football that came out to support y'all on Friday night to watch you win a championship. What do those Lions community members and fans mean to y'all this season?
I mean, it's arena football. The fans mean everything. Like I said, the players don't want to play in empty stadiums. So, you know, you got to get out and get the community involved. You got to make them feel like they're a part of it. And I mean, if you were watching the game, you saw we even got a delayed game because of, you know, when we got that interception that sealed the game, our fans were on the field. So, I mean, I know that's not what they're supposed to do, but that's how much they love the Columbus Lions. Like, they lost it. And, you know, involvement is everything. Like you said, if you make people feel like they're involved in something, they're gonna keep coming. That's the reason why Columbus gets good players, because guess what? You're watching our games and you're watching that game, you're like, okay, they got a fan base behind them. You know, it's an environment that you want to play in. You can't beat it here in Columbus.
No, you can't. It was loud and toxic in the Lion Den. Marcus, you were signing autographs as you came up a bit gimpy. I mean, they were taking some shots on you in that championship game, but you were getting the autographs. I mean, heck, my nephew who was at the game and my girlfriend's son, I mean, they idolized you. They were like, "Can I meet the quarterback?" And I was like, "We're not going on the field right now because it was a mad chaos down there, but eventually I'm going to have you meet them because they think the world of you." But Marcus, what are the fan base and the Lions and the way Columbus has treated you? What have they meant in your career here?
I appreciate it. Columbus has accepted me as one of their own. I appreciate it. I look forward to next season as we go for this three-peat. Come on out. Let's double those numbers. I don't hear the fan talk because I really tune out all the noise, but it does be loud in there, and the other teams hate it. So come on out. Keep making that same noise. Let's go for this three-peat.
Coach Daniels, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can, man. I'm not sure what's going on, but give me a hard time
Coach,
tonight.
Sorry, man. This is I asked for Marcus, and if you can, it's really a two-part question. What do the other teams in the league need to do to compete with y'all for next year so they're not getting beat 62-12 and 82-0? And what do the Lions fan base and the Columbus community mean for you in your first season as head coach, helping y'all win a championship?
I mean, of course, you know, Columbus is my home. So, you know, being born and raised here, Columbus means everything to me. We can't do anything without the fans. They've been wonderful to us since we've been a franchise back in 2007. So hopefully we can continue to get that same support. But as far as the other teams, I mean, you got to go out and recruit. You know, and the thing that Columbus has built our franchise on and why we've been so good is we've always had a solid core of guys coming back, and we just kind of build around that, and you know, just kind of pick and choose who we need to add to help us be the best team in the league. So, you know, hopefully they can I'm not going to give them the blueprint, but because we still want to win. But
Right.
hopefully they can recruit a little bit better and make the games a little more interesting.
That's the point, is that as a competitor, you want to make sure that they have their A game so they have no excuses when then you beat them 62-0 and they're playing with all their talent that they think they went out and got. They're trash talking y'all. Then it's like, well, you gave us your best shot and you're still not good enough. Guys, it was awesome to be a part of this entire season, this incredible run. I thoroughly enjoyed doing the pregame shows. Marcus and Coach Daniels, thank y'all so much. You don't have to do that. I know you're focused on the game, but y'all always came and were gracious with your time. I appreciate all of you. Coach Young, I appreciate you. If you're not in the NFL next year, I hope you're back with the Lions because I know I will be. And we're trying to go back to back to back, which is something I don't know if any professional here in Columbus has done. So I can't wait. And by the way, guys, I don't know if you know this. One of the highlights, I've called several game winners in my career broadcasting these last couple seasons. And one of them was with Coach Damien Daniel's son with the Brookstone Cougars last year to go to the Elite Eight. It was in the playoffs too. It's one of my favorite calls. So, Coach, I'm never going to forget that. And now full circle, I'm telling you and interviewing you as you are champion of the Columbus Lions. Thank y'all so much, guys. Y'all have a great night and look forward to talking to y'all real soon.
I appreciate it.
All right, that's Coach Damien Daniels, Marcus Brooks, and Antwon Young. We're going to take a break, Richard, and we got more because, Richard, I'm putting you on the spot. What's your take on Caitlin Clark? You don't want to go anywhere. If you like hot takes, Richard's got one for you, and then we're going to put Jack Patterson on the hot seat. It's Georgia Alabama Sports Live presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. We'll be back after this. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Choose America's #1 compact SUV, the Chevy Equinox. Discounted up to $6,500 off. Chevy's full-size pickup truck, the powerful Chevy Silverado, is up to $12,000 off. And big Chevy Silverado 2500 HDs are discounted up to $6,000 off. Plus, enjoy no payments until fall. Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get ready to smile.
We're smiling now. Richard, let's go ahead and bring it on. Just things because the interview took a little bit longer. We needed to do it. It was celebration. There's the cheesy. There's the beautiful face.
Yes, Mom.
That's my guy. It's JP. It's Jack Patterson, sports director of News 3. What is up, my brother?
Hey, man, I can't complain. It's a beautiful day over here in Midtown Columbus, man. I'm just getting ready for the show tonight. So, hey, and got a little bit of time. Finally get a little bit of time to hang out with you guys. It's been too long.
Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Jack, there's going to be we're going to hit about 3 to 5 topics because, we're going to have you on again. Going to have you on Thursday, by the way. DJ Jones will be out of town. So I will be hosting Sports Visions as I always do. DJ will come in, and then Mike G of the War Report. I know you know him, Jack. He'll be in studio all show long, and we'll have yours truly that's on the broadcast right now with me and Richard. And maybe I can even get Richie Rich as a guest too. Richard, I don't know if you'll be available tomorrow, but I'd like to get you on. But Jack, there's so many things, so many ways I want to start this. And I don't know if I want to get into the hot and I want to slowly bring you in, or I just want to get you with hot takes right now.
It's a highlight factor. There's no warming up in the bullpen. Let's go.
All right. Caitlin Clark, man. Me and DJ were having this conversation. I'm going to really get into this, and I want to get your opinion on it, Jack. I think this has happened quite frequently sometimes that we allow sports to become the avenue in which we start talking about race-related subjects. And I think racism is relevant today as it was 50 or 60 years ago. You look at the facts, you look how the justice system, albeit we're more cognizant of the failures of the justice system, especially with minorities, specifically African Americans in the last 100 years, things are still happening, okay? And we still need to speak out upon it. But in my opinion, putting this on Caitlin Clark, because I think that's where it's gotten to. Caitlin Clark and even Angel Reese becoming the black and white debate. And kind of like what happened with, I've seen documentaries, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. They made Magic the villain, obviously, because of a lot of the whitewash news, and they made Larry Bird the hero. And it seems like they're doing things similar now. But I don't want to talk about that part. We can get into that another time or maybe later on in this conversation. I specifically want to talk about, what do you expect from Caitlin Clark? Because I think that is a lot to put on the shoulders of a 23-year-old girl, Jack, that does not understand probably the ramifications of the conversations that are being had around her and playing in the WNBA and the race-related questions. Maybe she doesn't understand it. And should she? Someone needs to maybe enlighten her, but expect her to be someone that is out and vocal about this and to be a leader of it. That's a lot on someone's shoulders that is just trying to get acclimated in the WNBA. So I think it's come to the point where it's unfair, and now it's become more than just basketball. It's more than just, hey, we are having a conversation about WNBA. Everybody loves that. They're getting the viewership. They're getting the exposure. And now we're taking it from that to a conversation that nobody really likes having, which I'm okay having. But then again, it's going to take away from all the positivity you're getting from the exposure of the WNBA, which is what initially started this conversation. It's like more people want to watch because of Caitlin Clark. Then it turned into this. So two-part question, Jack. What do you want from Caitlin Clark in this conversation with the bigots and the racist people that are coming out there and saying the things they're saying? Do you expect her to come out and say, hey, I can't stand them? Because she's not going to shut them up. They're still going to talk. So what's your expectations from Caitlin Clark, and what's your overall opinion about what's happening within the WNBA?
Man, this is the part of sports that I honestly hate, because when you get to this point, you touched on this, okay? That we are seeing record numbers for the WNBA, okay? I mean, record numbers, blowing records out of the water. All right. And a lot of that has to do to Caitlin Clark, but also a good bit of it comes from the draft class that they just had, the greatest draft class in league history.
Yeah.
And I hate that it's come to this, that when you get such positivity, that all of a sudden something negative's got to be injected into it. And I think what you try to do is because you brought up a really good point, is that no matter what Caitlin Clark says or does, it won't stop those who choose to say these awful and hateful things. Okay? And that's nothing new. We've seen it in every sport. Okay? Unfortunately, it's just, some people just feel like, especially nowadays, everybody's got a computer. Everybody's got a microphone, they can say whatever they want to say and there be no ramifications to it, but at the same time, honestly, she honestly could say, I don't condone it or anything like that.
And she should.
And yeah, any normal person should. Let's make that clear, okay? Like, it doesn't matter if it's Caitlin Clark. It doesn't matter if it's Angel Reese. It doesn't matter if it's me or you. Okay, we shouldn't condone that kind of stuff. And my biggest hope is that we could just get past this nonsense and start focusing on the game on the court, because the game on the court has been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if you haven't watched any of the games this year, go watch. The games have been fantastic. I found myself watching the WNBA more this year, and it's not just because of Caitlin Clark. It's because of the draft classes and how good these games have been. They've been fantastic. And once again, it's, me, you guys know me. I always choose to try to find the positive in things. Okay.
You do.
And, even staring that in the face, which even though I try to find the positive, let's make no mistake that it's a real problem that we have people who think it's okay to speak in the way that they're speaking to these athletes.
Okay? Right.
And I've seen it on Twitter a whole bunch. And Marty Smith said it best, that at its worst, Twitter can be a cesspool. And we've seen some of the people come out of the cesspool and interject their horrid opinions at these athletes that they don't deserve. I really think that, I really hope that the viewing public, the ones whose minds and hearts are in the right place, can look past all that and focus on the incredible competition we have on the court right now, because this is going to be one of the best seasons in WNBA history, and I would hate for it to be marred by keyboard warriors who have nothing else better to do.
Yeah, and I want to add one more thing, Richard, before, I don't know if you want to chime in on this, because I know you're going to ask a question too. I don't expect Caitlin Clark to be a leader of a movement. I don't think and nor should it be asked upon her to be that. I don't think that she's some savior, and nor should she ever be on that aspect. If we want to have real conversations about tough stuff and tough topics, I'm all about it. But why do we got to have it within the confines of basketball? Because there's so many other things happen in our world today, other negative stuff that we can have those conversations about. And then it leaks into the one thing people go to get away from all that noise. Jack, people come to us, and more specifically you, to watch the highlights, to get away from all the other things that happen within this city. Because there's killings, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't bring a lot of great limelight to Columbus. But when they tune in to the Highlight Factory with you and Tyler, that brings that little bit of limelight to make them stop thinking about all the other terrible things. And it brings, positive thoughts within what's happened in Columbus. And that's the purpose of sports, I thought, was to get away from everything else and just go out and have fun playing a sport that in the grand scheme of things does not matter. And I don't know. I think that this point, especially now with the election, you got a lot of the supporters that, come out in the woodwork, some of the Donald Trump supporters. And I'm nothing against Donald Trump supporters. I'm not trying to get political, but sometimes they say things that shouldn't be said, just like a lot of on the other side. Democrats do the same thing. And then those people are now tuning into a sport that they otherwise may have never watched. Okay, the vocal people they've never watched, and now they're watching because Caitlin Clark, and they heard of Caitlin Clark, and this is where people start getting frustrated. It's like, why are you tuning in now just because she's white and there's a good white player? And I hope that in the end we still want viewerships, right? We still want to count the 2.5 million. I'm hoping that we can enlighten these people. But in the end of the day, guys, they're still going to think the way they think. They're still going to say the outrageous, ludicrousy, dumb, idiotic things they're going to say, and you're not going to stop it. But you can take their money. You can take their money and pocket yourself. I feel like Michael Jordan said it best. I mean, Republicans buy shoes too. Richard, anything you want to add on that? I just think it's a hard conversation because I feel for Caitlin Clark. She should come out and disown, obviously. Says she wants nothing part of it. But aside from that, what else is she going to do? Because these people are still going to say and do the things they're doing. So how do we stop that? I don't think it's Caitlin Clark's the answer. Richard.
First of all, I think we're taking away the focus about the basketball itself. I'm a Caitlin Clark fan. I'm an Angel Reese fan. I think this rivalry is fantastic for the WNBA. And guess what, fellas? Caitlin Clark is coming to Atlanta this weekend. They have moved the venue to State Farm Arena. I've been trying to find tickets. Tickets are going for like $250 on StubHub. Jack, you cover the Atlanta Dream because they are a Georgia team. How big is Caitlin Clark coming to Atlanta? I mean, is the focus on Caitlin Clark, obviously, or the Atlanta Dream, which is a team that went to 2 WNBA finals? Ryan Howard is a fantastic player. I personally think, because I know, Jack, you're a big Atlanta sports fan, that we should be focused on rooting for the Dream. But Caitlin Clark is moving the needle, and And this is fascinating that she's coming to the ATL.
Richard, you brought up a really good point, and you already said how big. I already asked how big it is. You already said how big it is. They're moving it from Gateway Center to State Farm Arena. Okay, we're talking about more than doubling the size of the arena that they're going to play. It's more like tripling it. Okay, you could probably fit close. I don't know how much in the basketball configuration, but you could probably fit anywhere from 17 to 20,000 inside of State Farm Arena, and that's a big deal. And the demand has been there, and that's not the only team that's had to do that this year. There's been several teams who've had to move from they might play in smaller arenas in the WNBA, but they've moved it to the NBA arena because the demand is there. Okay, and let's keep in mind that's a huge deal. Okay, that's a great deal. Okay, let's not lose sight of that. I don't care if it's because of Caitlin Clark. I don't care because of Dream or playing fantastic basketball. The fact that it's happening, okay, and the fact that the demand is there, and the fact that people are paying those prices to go see women's basketball, that is a good thing, okay? And the Dream have been playing well this year too, and I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be an incredible atmosphere. The Dream fans have always known to be able to come up, show and show out, and on top of that, we all know that Atlanta has a very big, diverse population. We see this all the time. Like, for example, when LeBron James or Steph Curry comes to play the Hawks, okay, the joint is sold out, okay? And this is the same principle. It's no different. So I really do believe that it's going to be an all-around good thing for both parties. It's going to be good for Caitlin Clark. It's going to be good for the Dream. It's going to be good for the Fever. It's going to be good for the WNBA. As long as we're focusing on, the action on the court and growing the women's game, okay? Because, this is a spotlight that women's sports in general has not had, okay? And now they're getting that spotlight. Now is what do you do with it? And the answer is you got to grow the game, okay? You've got all these fans in, you've got the hardcore fans. That was never an issue, but you got these casual fans. It's now your job to make them a thing.
It's two-way street too. Caitlin Clark has got to be also trying to make an effort within the WNBA community, and I'm talking about the players, okay? Because right now it seems like she's not accepted. A lot of them are maybe, I don't want to say jealous, but doesn't view her in the limelight saying, hey, everyone's saying you're the reason you're that everybody's tuning in and the viewership's high and the money's in, yet you're not talking away people that are saying the racist bigotry stuff. I'm hoping that she meets it, because if right now it seems like even her own teammates are having a tough time. And maybe that's just the media and myself making a big deal when I'm watching her teammates interact with her and she's getting hit hard and nobody's coming to her side, because when people are getting thrown down on the ground in the NBA finals, as y'all just watch, you got an entire bench that's trying to get up and go and fight because they have each other's back. So I don't know why that's not happening with Caitlin Clark, and shame on her if she's not doing a better job being a teammate. But back to my original point, I just hope we can go back to, I like the hot topic conversation of where it was about her game. Maybe her game doesn't translate. She's not the best. That's okay. Now we're getting to the realm of toxic nature and trying to lump her with a group of people that I don't think she's want to associate with. And maybe we shouldn't even give them the limelight and bringing them up. Why are we talking? I want to tell a lot of the WNBA players, don't even give them the satisfaction of acknowledging them, acknowledging their presence, because they are useless and worthless. And I'm hoping that in the end, by the end of this season, that these viewership numbers continue to climb, as you may mention, Jack, and we just keep talking about how great these basketball players are. Like Aja Wilson played for the Aces. You got people saying she's putting up Shaq-like numbers in the WNBA at about 28 and 11. I mean, come on now. There's a lot of talent. Exactly right. All right, Jack, let's move on from the WNBA and let's talk the Bravos. All right.
Who just won, by the way?
They did. Okay. I said I wanted to quit them. I did.
And what did I tell you?
I get it, Jack. And it's like, God, you sound like an idiot, Thrift. You quit them in June. Come on, the Braves are going to make the playoffs. And I get it. I'm not saying they're not. It's just accumulation of winning over 100 games these past 2 seasons and coming up short. Then now your best pitcher and your best player are out, and you're going to need luck of all luck like you did 3 years ago. Last year, you didn't need luck. You had the best team, and you still didn't win. Now you're going to need luck to win it all. I don't know. I'm not very optimistic on it. Jack, talk me off the ledge. Braves are playing better. They're about to be 10 games above 500, and they're well secured in the wild card spot right now.
I'm be more than glad to talk you off the ledge. Thrift. I'm looking at Spencer Swellenbach's stats right now. I've got Valley Sports up on the TV. So first start was a nightmare. Second start was pretty solid against a really good Orioles team. He just didn't have the offensive run support. And then tonight, he goes 6 innings, 89 pitches, 3 hits, 2 walks, 1 earned run, 7 Ks. Okay? So the reason why I start with that is because you forget that these guys that we just called up, Schwellenbach, Hurston Waldrop, okay? These guys are coming from the minors, and it always usually takes time to get your feet wet when you get to the big leagues, okay? That was start number 3, all right? If we start getting more of that, we're going to be just fine, okay? Once again, I said it on the show tonight. I've said it ad nauseum, okay? Baseball season is a marathon, not a sprint, okay? It does not matter what you do in April and May, okay? You cannot win a championship, okay? All you have to do is tread water, okay? So what? The Phillies have won 50 games already, okay? But guess what? You still got July, August, and September to go.
Yep.
Okay? So what I'm saying is it's far from over, okay? And I'm not sitting here saying we're going to come back and win the East. We might. The Braves have already done it.
We've seen crazier things.
But at the same time, all you need is a shot, okay? That's all you need. Plus, we have the trade deadline coming up as well. That's something we have to watch out for, all right? And then the bats are starting to wake up, all right? We've seen way better offensive output from the Braves in the last week, 10 days, than we've seen all season long, okay? And, you know, like I said, it's rare that you get the entire team slumping at the same time, but, hey, it happened, okay? But Joe Simpson said this on the radio tonight during the Braves game, and I 100% agree with it, is that it's not so much that when you're all slumping at the same time, it's hard to break out of it. But when you get that confidence, okay, when you get that confidence back, when things are starting to turn around and you start feeling good about yourself, and then you start putting together a couple of wins, look out. Confidence breeds success, all right? And now the Braves have won 5 of their last 7, okay? And they're not playing scrubs, okay? Baltimore is one of the best teams in the American League. The Rays are not far behind them. And then the Tigers are an up-and-coming team in the AL Central, okay? So it's not like the Braves are playing bad baseball, okay? You know, sometimes you just go through slumps. It happens. I've said this once, and I'll say it again, okay? Braves fans have been spoiled over the last 2 seasons, okay? Because during the regular season, the Braves could do no wrong, all right? They over here mollywopping everybody, okay? But when it came to the playoffs, they ran out of gas, okay? And I said this on Sports Business last week, and I'll say it again now, is that I don't want my team playing their best baseball right now. I want my team playing their best baseball in late August, in September, and October, okay? Give me 2021 all day, every day, okay? Because we didn't play our best baseball during the summer, okay? We were 500 that entire freaking summer, all right? Winning a game, losing a game, winning the game, losing the game, okay? That summer was just nerve-wracking, okay? It was aggravating because you just wanted to see the team. You saw what could happen, but you just wanted to see them put together a win streak. And when they finally did, and when they started clicking, look out. You go win a World Series, okay? Not one game, not one series goes past 6 games. All right, that's what you have to worry about. That's what you have to be focusing for. I don't care that we go on a 5-game losing streak in the middle of June if we're playing deep in October. Okay, so what I'm saying is be patient. All right, the Braves have more than earned the benefit of the doubt. Okay, they've more than earned the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, I know the last 2 postseasons didn't work out. Okay, guess what? Everything else has. Okay, literally everything else the Braves have done in the last 3 years have worked out except for those last 2 postseasons. So what I'm saying is they've earned the benefit of the doubt. Okay, stop doubting them. The sky's not falling. It's not the end of the world. All right, be patient. All right, patience is a virtue. This team has played. I saw this in my memories a couple of days ago. That I remember 6 years ago when I was just happy the Braves were beating the Reds. Okay? And I'm not talking about the Reds now with Ellie De La Cruz and they actually look halfway decent. I'm talking about the Reds that were god-awful bottom of the barrel in the NL Central. Okay? And we've come a long way. But I really think Braves fans have been spoiled over the last 2 years. And they're not used to this. They've gotten unused to it. And I'm saying that you got to understand that this is a professional game and it's far from easy to win. Okay? Any given night, any team can win. Even the A's, who everybody thought were going to be the worst team in baseball, have been decent this year. Okay? So what I'm saying is you got to be patient, okay? They're playing professionals every night. All right. And you're going to go through slumps and you're going to go through hard times. All right. So be it. Like I said, if you're playing I guarantee you can put me on the record on this. If the Braves are playing great baseball in late August, September, and more importantly, October, not a soul is going to care that they lost 5 games in a row in the middle of June. I promise you. If they give us another pennant, if they give us another gold pennant at Truist Park, nobody is gonna care that they lost a series to they lost 6 out of 8 games to the Nationals, or they lost a series to the A's early in the season. No one will care. I promise you.
No, they won't. And this message to all those who are going through the Braves Anonymous,
and I approve this message.
Yeah, and Jack Patterson approves this message. If you're in Braves Anonymous, like Alcoholics Anonymous, you're in Braves Anonymous right now, and you're going through it. That message was for you, Richard. Go ahead,
man. Jack, last week was the groundbreaking ceremony at Synovus Park. I think this is absolutely huge because come April 2025, you, me, Thrift, we are all going to be embedded in covering this team. I'm talking breaking down games. I mean, how cool is it going to be seeing the Montgomery Biscuits come to Synovus Park, the Birmingham Barons? I mean, I honestly think it's going to attract people in the entire state of Georgia. Columbus is going to get a lot more visitors, and it's really going to put the city not only on the map, it's going to help the economy. And this is a lot bigger than people think it is. I think that Synovus Park, I know we miss historic Golden Park. I know I had a lot of fond memories of Golden Park, but Synovus Park, this is going to be the real deal. And that was really cool that you got to be part of the ceremony. And I think this April 2025 can't come any quicker.
You know, it's going to be different, Richard, okay? Like, you know, give you the full backstory, you know, because I know you're new to the area, so you haven't seen minor league baseball here, okay? Thrift, I know you're from here. I know you've probably gone to a few games. You probably went to some Red Sticks games growing up. You probably went to some Catfish games growing up too. That was me. That was my upbringing, okay? We haven't seen minor league baseball in this city in 16 years, all right? And it is a massive deal. And I'll use the words of Scott Miller. It's a massive deal already that minor league baseball is coming back, but it's even bigger because it's Double-A baseball coming back. And now it's even bigger because it's the Atlanta Braves. Okay? That cannot be understated enough. That you are getting the Atlanta Braves Double-A affiliate. I just talked about Spencer Schwellenbach. Okay? Guess where he came from? He came from Double-A. He came from Mississippi. He was pitching in Mississippi a few weeks ago, and now he's in the show. And that's what we're going to be seeing from the Braves when they get here. We're going to be seeing those future stars who literally may pitch here one night or play here one night and the next night be up 185 playing at Truist Park. That's a legitimate possibility. I won't even say a legitimate possibility. That is going to happen, okay? And it is a difference maker when you can literally watch them play at Synovus Park, and then the next week you can go watch them play at Truist Park. That is a massive, massive deal. On top of that, you know, when the big leaguers get hurt, they're going to have their rehab assignments. Where do they go? They go to AA, which means, and you could probably mark the book on this, you're probably going to see Ronald Acuna Jr. at Synovus Park next year. You're probably going to see Spencer Strider there next year as well. Okay? That's another thing. All right, Richard, you talked about the economy. The economic impact of this is going to be huge, okay? Now, I'm not a news reporter. I couldn't tell you all the X's and O's on those numbers and everything. That's a story left for Chuck Williams. But what I am going to tell you is that it's not just going to be the folks in Georgia. It's going to be the folks in East Alabama, too. And it's going to be the folks all around the Southeast. You're talking about playing in the Southern League, okay? You mentioned a lot of teams, Montgomery, Birmingham. Let's not forget the Trash Pandas up in Huntsville, okay? You got Pensacola. You got Knoxville. All
the Biloxi Shuckers.
Yeah, the Biloxi Shuckers, okay? All those are within, what, a 6-hour drive of Columbus?
Oh, yeah, there's no question that they're going to have road trips.
So
fans,
if any fan wanted to come check this ballpark out, because let's keep in mind, okay, that all those teams I just mentioned are affiliates of other teams, but I guarantee you that they're bigger fans of the Braves than whatever team those teams are affiliates of, okay? So if they get the opportunity to see their local team play against future Braves, I guarantee you they'll make that road trip. And that's the money that's going to be coming into Columbus for hotels and restaurants and stuff like that. So it is a multifaceted thing because you're talking about how big all this is going to be. Is, you know, Richard, you said it perfectly, that some people just don't recognize the gravity of this situation, okay? And it won't hit a lot of people until we're playing baseball at Synovus Park next spring. Once you see, you know, a sold-out crowd at that ballpark, okay, and you see the brand new state-of-the-art stadium with amenities and all that good stuff, and you start seeing the other buildings that go up around it and stuff like that, that's when you're really going to start seeing the impact of what this is going to bring to not just Columbus, but the Chattahoochee Valley as well. This is going to be a boom for Columbus and Phoenix City economically, and it's going to put a spotlight here for baseball in an already baseball crazy town.
Well, Jack, we don't want to keep you too much because I know you're about to do a hit here in about 45 minutes or so, but I did just a few more questions. We got to talk Lions. You did the celebration with us. We'll talk about that. Sports Visions again. And if you miss our interaction with Jack Patterson and Rex Castillo immediately after the Lions celebration, we put that up. Did a celebration show on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Make sure to go and tune that in last Friday. Jack, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Atlanta Hawks. And by the way, today I went to Top Golf. For those out there, it's half off on Tuesdays and from when it opens till 5 o'clock. So I decided to make a drive up there, take my nephew, take Natalie, my girlfriend's son, FJ, her daughter, Gianna, having a good time. And as I'm hitting my golf ball, I look over in the bay, and guess what? Guess who I saw?
Who'd you see?
Steve Holman of the Atlanta Hawks. And the reason I brought it up is that I want to ask you, Jack, and I'll give my thoughts as it starts getting closer to the draft. What the heck do the Hawks do? Do they trade the number one pick?
No.
Go out and get Reed Shepard that they're saying is the next Steve Nash? Do they get Richard's guy, Alex Sars from French? I mean, he is so high.
Yep.
I don't know if I feel how would I feel about him. Do you trade Trey Young to a myriad of other spots and bring in talent or get draft picks? Do you trade DeJounte Murray and get draft picks back? What is it? What are you doing with this team? Is the Young era over, and is it time to move on and build up capital and do what the Thunder did? Are you still building around Trey hoping to get another splash, sign, or trade that allow you to be competitive next year?
This is what I'm gonna say about this, okay? Because a lot of people have said trade Trae Young. Everybody in LA seems to think that Trae Young is gonna be a Laker. Somebody's saying that trade DeJounte. Here's my biggest thing: is this was said brilliantly on ESPN radio today. I can't remember who said it, but I heard it this morning when I was listening to the radio. Is that the era of the super team is over in the NBA. Okay? We saw those seasons where, you had the Miami Heat with LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh, and then you had the Lakers. I mean, not the Lakers, the Warriors with Steph, KD, Clay, Draymond, But we've seen in recent years, we've seen with the Raptors, who only really had Kawhi and, maybe Pascal Siakam. We've seen it with Denver, who built their core around Jokic and Jamal Murray. And then we've seen it with Boston now, who built their core around Tatum and Brown. Is that you can't have – it's not so much the playmakers that are the issues, it's the surrounding cast that you got to fix.
Right.
Okay? Because what made Toronto so good, what made Denver so good, what makes Boston so good is the surrounding cast plays in perfectly. Okay? Because, Tatum and Brown, they've got to have good games, okay? But guess what? Al Horford's having a great finals, okay? Pritchard's having a great finals, all right? You're having those ancillary guys come up clutch, and they're providing, points or rebounds or blocks or whatever. That's been the key, okay? Those Nuggets teams had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, okay, and Michael Porter Jr. Those guys are coming in clutch. That's the key. So to answer your question, I don't think you trade Trae Young, and I don't think you trade DeJounte Murray. You build around, okay? Because in this day and age, we are so in this Instagratification era. Okay, it's like, okay, we drafted Trae Young, he's supposed to win a title. Okay, and it doesn't help that the Hawks got to the Eastern Conference Finals in probably ahead of schedule. Okay, and then we trade for DeJounte Murray. Okay, it takes time for these things to happen. People forget. Okay, Tatum and Brown were drafted 6-7 years ago. Okay, they ain't no rookies. It takes time to build a champion. You can't go buy a championship. Just ask the Brooklyn Nets. Okay? Just ask the Phoenix Suns. You cannot go buy a championship.
Or the 2004 Lakers.
So you have to go and build. Okay? Landry Fields said that, and I wholeheartedly agree with him. You have to build on what you're trying to do. Okay? You've got a stable foundation with Trae and DJ, okay? Build on it. What's the Hawks' number one need? Defense, okay? That's what I feel like the Hawks need to go after. They need to go after defense, both in the draft and in free agency, okay? If they can do that, I promise you, it will be a world of difference from where the Hawks are last year to where the Hawks will be if they can just address those issues on defense.
I'll tell you this. I'm going to hold my tongue because I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I'm going to let it get closer to the draft. I promise you're going to want to tune in here in the next couple of weeks on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We'll have Steve Holman on, by the way, too. Maybe even Mike Conti, friend of the show, friend of Richard and mine, guy that we all respect. Jack, I know you know who Mike Conti is. We all respect him.
The voice of Atlanta United.
Very dearly. Richard, go ahead and ask Jack one more question so we can get him out of here, and me and you can chop it up about what just happened in the NBA Finals.
Jack, OTAs are mini camps happening right now for the Atlanta Falcons. And I think that you got a quarterback battle, Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr. I mean, I don't even think it's a controversy. I think that Kirk Cousins is the guy. But when it comes to if Michael Penix Jr. starts becoming special, like in that first preseason game, I know he's going to go up against the second team. I mean, what do they do? I mean, do they try to say, hey, we actually, Michael, because the same thing happened in Seattle when they gave all that money to Matt Flynn and in comes a rookie, Russell Wilson, that takes the job over. Do you think that head and shoulders Kirk Cousins is better than Michael Penix Jr.? And what are the expectations for the Atlanta Falcons this year? I mean, they have to win the division, right? I mean, everything is lined up for the Falcons to win the division because they are the best team in the NFC South.
All right, let's break this down right quick. First things first, if Michael Penix looks great in the first preseason game, that's fantastic. He's sitting the bench. He's the backup. Okay? Point blank, period. Kirk Cousins is your starter from day one. The only way he's not is if he's not fully healed from his Achilles. He looks like he's fully healed. So Kirk Cousins is the starter day one. There is no controversy. You can't afford there to be a controversy. So Kirk Cousins is your starter from day one. All right? So I don't think that's a non-factor in my eyes. All right. Kirk Cousins is going to be your guy moving forward. And as for the division, yeah, Falcons need to win a division. Okay. You've invested the money. Okay. We've said it for years about, what was the one thing that the Falcons were missing? Okay. Quarterback play. Well, you got the best quarterback free agent in the market from last year. All right. So, truthfully, the Falcons were in playoff contention until the second to last week of the season last year. And that was with terrible quarterback play. So you have what's supposed to be at least an average quarterback, but more than likely above average quarterback. If he plays mediocre, you should still make the playoffs. Okay? So yeah, it's division title or bust for the Falcons this year. Honestly, it should be a lot higher than that. I'm not sitting here saying the Falcons are going to go to Super Bowl, but I really think that the Falcons should be a double-digit win team and winning a playoff game. I think that's a fair expectation for the Falcons this year, just for the investment that the team has made. You got to start seeing a return on the investment, not just, first year for Raheem Morris, but Terry Fontenot in his fourth season. You got to start seeing a return on investment. You got to at least win more than 7 games in the season.
I absolutely agree, Jack. I also feel they need to utilize Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts more, and Drake London as well. That offense, they have got weapons. And Thrift, I know you had some technical difficulties, but you are back on. We were just talking about the Atlanta Falcons and the fact that Kirk Cousins is by far going to be the day one starter. I mean,
as he should be.
As he should.
Orlando Ledbetter said, calm down. The question should be about Kirk Cousins. It should be about 2 coordinators that have never called a down in the NFL. Jimmy Lake, who was a great defensive coordinator for Washington, had a very tumultuous that's probably not the proper way of pronouncing that word, but had a very what's the correct word of saying this? It didn't go down the way he wanted to go down at Washington. He had some things, some scandals, some turmoil that ultimately led to his demise and getting fired. And then you got Zach Robinson, who was a great quarterback at Oklahoma State, who's been under Sean McVay, and Hank McVay had never called it down before. He became an offensive coordinator, and then you saw now he's one of the best head coaches in the NFL. So I think it's going to pan out, but more questions I think than are surrounding the Falcons this year. And it's not the quarterback position. I think that's way down. All right, Jack, real quickly, last thing I did want to ask your thoughts on the NBA Finals. It'll be a transition for us as we get you off and me and Richard wrap up. Did you have the Celtics winning? You have a problem with the way Luka played? What's your opinion on what happened in the NBA Finals this year?
Okay, so my prediction was dead wrong. I said Mavs in 6, so obviously that was completely off base. But honestly, I don't think it was so much the Mavs playing terrible as it was the Celtics playing really good. All right, Kristaps Porzingis, he in the games that he was there, he played really good basketball. And then you had Jaylen Brown. He won the Finals MVP for a reason, y'all. He played phenomenal. Okay, and I think you got to stop trying to put Brown and Tatum against each other, because it's clear they're working together and for the betterment of the Celtics. And that's going to put them in a really good position moving forward, especially with so many awesome teams that are going to be coming out of the Western Conference, and the East is going to get their act together as well. So, but the Celtics is going to be that bar that everybody's going to have to clear. But Luka played great. Obviously, he didn't have his best moments, but let's just be honest. Luka carried the Mavs. This series would have been over in 4 if it wasn't for Luka. All right, and let's just be honest that the Mavs were in games because of Luka. It wasn't like the Celtics won every game in a blowout this series. Right. There were games where the Mavs could have won, and it was because of Luka. So, I don't, it's his first time being in the finals, and you don't always win your first trip in the finals. Heck, Tatum and Brown didn't win their first trip to the finals. LeBron didn't win his first trip to the finals. Michael Jordan didn't win his – well, no, Michael Jordan did win his because he never lost in the finals. But, you don't always win in your first trip to the finals. So, it's okay. Let's not, all of a sudden think that Luka is just this scrub or anything like that. Does he have some lessons to learn? Of course. But we'll see how good of a how good his metal is, okay? How good his toughness, his mental toughness is. Can he file that and use that as motivation for next season? Okay? That's what I'm going to be looking for. But Celtics deserve the title. They were the class of the field all season long. They proved it again. And honestly, y'all know I'm a wrestling fan, so the Ric Flair quote always rings true. In order to beat a man, you got to beat the man.
And the man was Boston. And it bothered me. Well, Jack, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have you on here in a few weeks. Got a lot of things that are happening in the Tri-City area. Where can everybody watch your highlights that you got coming up and what you got going on the rest of the week on WRBL News 3?
So I'll be hitting the air in approximately, show starts in about 30. So I'll probably be on the air in about 45, 50 minutes or so. We got a huge rundown. We'll run down the Braves win streak, and we'll have those highlights from their win tonight. We're going to talk about the Falcons as well, because Arthur Blank and Matt Ryan both they're going to go into the Falcons Ring of Honor this season.
As they should.
Blank will go in week 3 when the Falcons are on Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. And then Ryan goes in week 5 when they're on Thursday Night Football when they play the Buccaneers. And by the way, if you have not gone to the Falcons social media and see they were both surprised, you have to go see it, because Warwick Dunn and Roddy White surprised Arthur Blank. And then they had Matt Ryan speak to the team about what it means for him to be a Falcon. And if you take anything else from what I said on this show tonight, go watch Matt Ryan on that video and go to the 6:10 mark, because if he says the best explanation I've ever had for how Atlanta sports fans act, okay? Because a lot of people are saying, Atlanta sports fans are so wishy-washy or whatever, they're bandwagon fans, but he said it perfectly, is that when you win, this team, this city, this fan base will get behind you like no other. Okay? But they're quick to see the nonsense, for the lack of a better term.
The BS.
Okay? Thank you. I wasn't going to say it. But they're quick to see through the nonsense. So, and Matt Ryan said it perfectly, and then they surprised him after he said it. But if you're a Falcons fan, you need to go watch those 2 videos, because it'll make your day. Okay, so definitely go watch those. But we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. And then one more thing we'll do. I don't know if you guys know, because you guys have been on the air, but the great Willie Mays passed away tonight.
Oh, wow.
So we'll do a shout out to him and everything he's done for the game of baseball, especially as we get ready to come up on the Rickwood Classic in Birmingham. That's coming up. I want to say either this or next weekend. But
it's this weekend at the Giants and the Cardinals at Rickwood Stadium up in Birmingham.
So we'll pay tribute to him at the end of the Sportscast tonight for sure. So a lot of stuff going on in the show, and we always want you to be a part of it. Come on, watch us like I said, we'll probably sports will probably hit the air around 11:20 or so. So be sure to tune in for that. And then we've got a lot of good stuff coming your way. And hey, we are already working on high school football stuff. We're 59 days away. We're working on getting ready for the Prep Zone training camp tour that's going to launch in a few weeks. So we're already making those plans and getting ready because it will be here before you know it.
Jack, thank you so much. We'll take a quick
Thanks,
break.
Jack.
It's more Georgia Alabama Sports Live right here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live Facebook page and YouTube channel. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Choose America's #1 compact SUV, the Chevy Equinox. Discounted up to $6,500 off. Chevy's full-size pickup truck, the powerful Chevy Silverado, is up to $12,000 off. And big Chevy Silverado 2500 HDs are discounted up to $6,000 off. Plus, enjoy no payments until fall. Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get ready to smile.
We love being able to go to the different high school, colleges, middle schools to live broadcast sporting events around the area. Georgia Alabama Sports Live appreciates all the fan support, but without a presenting sponsor like Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC in Opelika, none of this would be possible. So we want to say thank you so much. Go to glennsmith.com. That is right, glennsmith.com. See all the inventory and see why people always say, get ready to smile. Thanks, everyone, and thank you to Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC for being our presenting sponsor. Welcome back, everyone. I know Michael Woods commented. He's basically going to hopefully be our special guest, talk some WNBA and stuff, and Corey Black. All right, Richard, let's go ahead. We've had pretty much a long show. Talk some NBA Finals, and I want to get your overall the way you felt about interviewing Tim Hudson and that moment for you. But we'll wrap that. That'll be the wrap-up. So let's talk about it right now, Richard. The NBA Finals. Heading into the game, Rich, in the season, in the NBA Finals, I said, I'm telling you, the way the Mavericks are playing and the way the Celtics have folded in these pressurized moments over the last few years, I just see the Mavericks winning. They got the best player on the court. But when you got the best team, the best player doesn't matter. And they got the best team. They got 2 top 20 players. Tatum's a top 5. Honestly, Brown could probably be top 10. They could have, honestly, 2 top 10 players. Drew Holiday's a top 25 player. Porzingis, when healthy, is top 35, top 40 player. Al Horford's one of the best role players. You got Derek White that any team would want as a point guard and a leader. I underestimated them. And I think the biggest thing I underestimated was what Drew Holiday did for the Bucks 3 years ago. He just did for the Celtics, and I didn't take that into account. I was disappointed in Kyrie. I felt like the role players like Jones and Washington, they weren't going to hit the threes at the clip they were hitting in the previous series, but I didn't think they would be this bad. But I think it was more Kyrie than anything. Obviously, it still bothered him playing within Boston, and I think Luka played well in Game 5 and specifically Game 4. And if he had played that way effort-wise on defense the previous 3 games, this series probably still be going right now, Richard. It'd probably be 3-2 Boston with the lead. Dallas is going to have to get another key player if they want to win it all. But in the end, it's still positive what I take away from this Mavericks run and what I've seen from Kyrie. I was just wrong. I was wrong on the Celtics. I honestly think this was their year, and the only team that could have beat them was the Mavericks. Aside from that, they would have won every series the way they did. They were dominant, 16-3 in the playoffs, 80-21 overall record, 64-18 in the regular season. Joe Mazzulla outcoached Jason Kidd. There are question marks about the coach. Gone. They're deep. They're going to come back better next year. They'll add a piece or two. And Brad Stevens, Richard, guy was an elite coach. And now is one of the best GMs in the game. And you got to give credit to Danny Ainge to put this together. Everyone questioned them. I can't stand them. They haven't had a championship in Boston since 2018 when the Patriots and the Red Sox both won championships that year. But they deserved it. I'm tired of talking about it. It's not luck. I know they had an easy draw, but what this team did this year from start to finish, they were the best team in the NBA, and they finally get their championship. I'll let you talk, and then I got a few other thoughts too.
Thrift, in this century, I mean, and I'm not a Boston fan. I mean, but I'm happy that Boston fans got another championship because I guess, I mean, the Patriots won 6 Super Bowls, Red Sox won 4 World Series titles, the Boston Bruins won a Stanley Cup, and now this is the second NBA title the Boston Celtics have won, first since 2008. They're 18th, which actually surpasses the Lakers, who had 17. I mean, I know that Lakers fans have got to be sick to their stomach. This is not an all-time Boston team. This is not the 86 Boston team. This is not the 08 Boston team. They got a lot of breaks. A lot of teams that they faced, like Miami, Jimmy Butler got hurt. You know, they faced the Indiana Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton. They faced the Cleveland Cavaliers without Donovan Mitchell. But you got to give credit to the general manager, Brad Stevens, who made all the right moves. They built this team around Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, but it was the other players like Kristaps Porzingis, who they got in a trade, getting rid of Marcus Smart, which I thought Marcus Smart was their energy. He was their defensive player. And they ended up upgrading by getting Drew Holiday, which the Bucks just decided, we don't want him anymore. I mean, he helped them win a championship in 2021, but they wanted Damian Lillard so bad. They got rid of Drew Holiday, went to Portland. He said, I'm not going to Portland. So Portland ships him off to Boston. And that's why the Boston Celtics won the championship. Had a great regular season, 64 wins, but they had a lot of depth on their team. And I'm happy for Al Horford that he got his ring because I loved him as a Hawk. He was the most stable Atlanta Hawk from 2007 to 2014. The Hawks were in the playoffs every year. I honestly think because of Al Horford's leadership and his high IQ and his availability just to get his teammates involved. I mean, the Hawks were sustainable because of Al Horford, and he wins a championship. And I'm going to have a hot sports take here, Thrift. I think that Jaylen Brown, who won NBA Finals MVP, right now is the best Georgia-born player in the NBA. I say what you want, Anthony Edwards. Jaylen Brown's got a ring, NBA Finals MVP. It's close, but Jaylen Brown out of Marietta took Joseph Wheeler to a state championship, went to Cal where his idol Sharif Abdul-Rahim went to, and he's got a ring. And so I'm happy for him, but I'm not a Boston sports fan. I know that's a mouthful. But hey, they won the championship, and now they're the odds-on favorite to win it again in 2025.
They took away, the Timberwolves did, what I thought was going to be the best series, which is Denver-Boston. I thought those are the best two teams. But hey, things happen. Bad matchup for Denver in that Minnesota game. They can't hit any shots in that Game 7, blow that lead. Then Minnesota matched up terribly with Luka and Kyrie, and Luka and Kyrie matched up terribly with Boston. So that led them to winning a championship. The rest of the league's going to have to catch up. You got Paul George in trade rumors, Philly. You got Jimmy Butler saying he's going to Philly. I can't wait to see how NBA offseason is going to be. You know, that's my favorite time of year, Richard. We did shows last year. It's going to be fun.
July NBA free agency.
And then that's after the NBA draft, and who knows what the Atlanta Hawks are going to do. I did want to say, Jason Tatum, dude, you're 26. And the reason I say that is he screamed whatever he screamed, and he was trying to mimic KG. And I just want to, and then he says, where are they at now? You know, because that's what Steph Curry said. Steph Curry and KG were in their 30s when they said this. It was a legacy win. This wasn't a legacy win for Tatum. This is just the beginning. KG had gone through so many trials and tribulations, man. And that's why he was the most competitive, fiery guy in the league, aside from Kobe. That's why he said that. Tatum, I mean, I guess because he's won so much, and when he comes in the league, he goes to a conference championship. He didn't have to go through the turmoil of being on a suck team like KG did and take them out of the woodwork and have to get traded to a team and finally saying, you know what, I can't win it by myself. I got to go somewhere else. You didn't have to go through any of that. Why are you screaming that? You don't have to be corny. It's like these guys, especially him, Brown, it's like they more Tatum than Brown. It's like they watch, and this is what I think I should do. What am I supposed to do in this moment? I'm going to scream like KG did. That was genuine. So that's my only gripe. I'm poking fun at it, obviously, but Richard, he made it seem like what can they say now? He's the best in the world. Like, come on, dude, you're 26. You still got to grow. I don't even think you've hit your prime yet. Your peak's 27, 28, 29, 30. Like, you don't even hit your peak yet, and you already got a championship. Most don't even get close to that till they're in their 30s. You won it younger than most of the prime people in NBA history. So I hold off on that. But aside from that, great job for the Boston Celtics. Richard, you had a chance to interview Tim Hudson, talk about that experience this past weekend, and talk about the Columbus United game and Brett Teach, and we'll wrap up the show with that.
Well, for most people that know that I've been away for a couple of weeks for my new job that I have down at Fort Moore, but we had an event down at Fort Stewart, and so I rushed to get back to the Columbus Civic Center as soon as I possibly could. I was actually listening to the pregame show with you and Rick Beach, and I got there game time, and one of my first assignments is that you wanted me to interview Tim Hudson, and I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. Well, I actually stood right by Tim Hudson. That he's getting ready to do the coin toss. I just shook his hand. I've asked him, do you mind if we get an interview after the coin toss? It was a great moment because I am a Tim Hudson fan. He is just a legend in Columbus. The former Glenwood Gator, also played at CVCC, played at Auburn. He won 20 games with the Oakland Athletics. He played for the Braves. I mean, he had 233 wins. How is this guy not a Hall of Famer? And, of course, winning a World Series with the San Francisco Giants in 2014. And I love Tim Hudson, and he really means a lot to this community. I thought it was great that he got to be a part of the coin toss. Earlier that week, he was a part of the groundbreaking ceremony at Synovus Park. And so I was very appreciative that I got to interview him. I want to thank you, Thrift, for giving me that opportunity. And it's one of those moments that I'll never forget.
Oh, Richard, you're an integral part of what we do here at Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and we love what you represent. Awesome to be the Columbus United, our first soccer broadcast. Expect to do many more, and including the high school and college ranks this upcoming season. Thank you to Damien Daniels, Marcus Brooks, and also to our guy Antwon Young. Thank you to Jack Patterson. On Thursday's show, and it says originally on the broadcast schedule 12 o'clock. I've already changed it. We're going to be live at 6:30. Richard, hopefully that works out for everyone. And then we're going to have Corey Black and Michael Woods on. So we'll have Corey Black to talk about the high school scene, what he's been up to, everything else, what summer league meant to him, summer basketball, get his takes on high school basketball in general in this area, who's some of the top teams coming back. He knows. He's ready to talk, ruffle some feathers. I can't wait to do our first, by the way, I don't know why I just thought about this, but I can't wait to do our first top 10 list for a preseason top 10 for high school football. I'm already
Oh man.
I'm already getting excited. And then we got Michael Woods on to talk WNBA, Girls Inc., and more. That'll be the last thing we do here in Georgia Alabama Sports Live Thursday.
Well,
also,
by the way, Thrift, Jessica Carter got signed by the Las Vegas Aces. I know that she's got. Yeah, exactly.
Ties to the Girls Inc. That's why we want to have on Michael Woods. Next week, we got some play dates. We're going to start our interview segment of sitting down with athletic directors. So be ready and stay tuned. As always, Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Keep grinding it out. Everyone have a great rest of your night, and we will see you tomorrow for the Swoosh Summer League. We got Calvary, Hardaway, Jordan, and Russell County all playing on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. From Richard Holdridge, I'm Thrift Barringer saying good night, everyone. We'll see you on this show Thursday night and Sports Visions 4 to 6, 92.1 Smooth R&B, Sports Visions Facebook page, and the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show at 6:30 this Thursday. We'll see you later. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for watching the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. You're ready to smile.